Fighting on the front lines in southern Utah, how one firefighter's battle against the blaze became a personal one.
Winds continue to fuel fire danger. I'm tracking the wind and a cool down. Your full forecast coming up.
I'm going to feel dangerous. I don't know. I feel like attacking.
Then a fake call to 911 targets a 93-year-old woman and her family. How officers were able to uncover the truth before it was too late.
This is a start of something bigger.
Plus, an all-girl football league in Utah high schools, how these girls are taking their fight to the court.
And Winston, the beloved Hogle macaw, dies after flying away from his perch. Details coming up.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Mother Nature always bats last, and we are trying to keep up with her, and we're meeting with success.
There is some optimism from the fire lines after another long, hot day battling the Brian Head fire.
But even with that optimism, the fire is the largest in the country right now. The evening update still lists acreage lost at just under 50,000 with 10% containment, but we expect new numbers after the mapping flight tonight, which occurs just before nightfall. We have team coverage of this monstrous blaze. Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher went behind the fire lines and into the town of Brian Head.
Fox 13 Chief Meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke is checking on any break in the erratic winds, but we begin with Fox 13's Matt McDonald, who is live at the Incident Command Center in Panguitch to introduce us to a firefighter who saved his own house. Matt.
Hey, Bob and Hope. Yeah, I'm going to get to that firefighter in a second, but a quick note about those numbers. Indeed, they could change by morning after that flight, and they do believe that the fire grew, but not so significantly as it did yesterday. So they didn't put out an estimate on how much it grew. They said, we'll know for sure in the morning. That'll give us a better sign of where we are. The one clear sign that we have seen over and over again today is the signs all over town calling the firefighters are heroes, and perhaps nobody is cheering louder than a firefighter himself who had to jump in to save his own house. For most, firefighting is a job. For others, it's a calling.
I volunteered to help other people.
Jim Doyen calls this cabin on Panguitch Lake home. He volunteers for the Panguitch Lake Fire Department.
If I wouldn't have been a volunteer fireman, when my brother fireman's waiting for us, I would have lost the house totally.
When the Brian Head fire raced down the hill towards his house, his own department came to the rescue. Jim taking the lead in some of the most aggressive firefighting.
I had to use my own backhoe to dig my own roof to break it out to finally get the smoldering and flame coming out of the roof from the insulation.
Some of that insulation now hangs from the ceiling inside. The back of the house is boarded up and burned, but the house is still standing, and his fellow firefighters aren't done yet.
The boys up here just saying it's going to be an old school type barn raising. We'll just get your house back up together and everybody will be partying.
The party may have to wait. The Brian Head fire is still too close for comfort. Jim and his fellow volunteers watching in awe as crews march in to stop the flames.
These forest fire people are unreal. 24 hours, they're in the woods, and it's amazing how much they've saved for us.
Jim's house included. You probably noticed as I've been standing here, there's kind of a stream of cars that have been moving in behind me. Firefighters coming back in from the fire lines into the incident command post here in Panguitch. This fire is so large that there's actually two incident command posts, the one here in Panguitch and the one over the mountains in Parowan. They're managing the other side of the fire, and that includes the town of Brian Head, where they're thinking they may be able to lift the evacuation notice fairly soon. Lauren Steinbrecher was able to get up there and check it out for herself today. She reports for us tonight from Parowan.
Yeah, some great news for Brian Head residents. When I went up there earlier this evening, not only could I see that the wildfire left the town almost completely intact, crews are already working on fixing infrastructure. This mountain sits quiet and empty.
It's looking pretty good for them.
And almost entirely untouched by the wildfire that shares its name. Only one cabin burned down.
It could have been so much worse, but we've been blessed.
Thanks to the work of firefighters.
The fire crews just did a tremendous job, a miraculous job really, of saving our town. As you can see, you know, Brian Head's in pretty good shape. Brian Head lives.
While smoke rises from the distance, crews work to replace power poles and infrastructure.
Power is restored currently, so they've been able to take care of that, and we're working on fiber and phone lines.
Everyone's working to try and get Brian Head back on its feet.
Fire managers say their next concern is clearing dead trees along the highway.
We'll have to be doing some snag work in order to make it safe for travel.
But beyond the charred areas on Highway 143, the town of Bryan Head sits ready.
We're optimistic that we can pick up resort operations here fairly quickly.
Fingers crossed it can soon open.
I hope we'll have a strong summer
and get back to normal. The town manager says that when the evacuation order is lifted, it's likely that Highway 143 between here and Parowan and over to Bryan Head will still probably be closed. So he says he expects people to be able to get into town from the south. Matt, back to you.
Certainly good to hear a little optimism on both ends of this fire. It wasn't as hot today. The winds didn't blow quite as much, and it has certainly cooled off a bit this evening. All some signs, hopefully, pointing in the right direction on this fire. In Panguitch, Matt McDonald, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Bryan Head is now one of the biggest fires in recent state history. Utah's Division of Forestry, Fire and State Lands sent us this list of the largest fires since 2003. As it stands now, the Bryan Head fire falls in the number 5 slot at nearly 50,000 acres, though it will likely grow bigger before it's contained. The biggest fire in recent memory is the Milford Flat Fire. That was in 2007. It burned more than 350,000 acres.
Keep it right here on Fox 13 News as we continue to track the Bryan Head fire. You can also get the latest information by visiting our social media accounts and our website, fox13now.com. As Matt mentioned, winds are making things difficult for firefighters, although they looked a little calmer tonight.
They did. Fox 13 Chief Meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke tracking conditions for us tonight in the Weather Center. Kristen.
Yeah, winds not quite as strong as yesterday. Yesterday we had winds gusting to nearly 40 miles an hour in that area. Today the gusts have subsided. We still have a steady wind anywhere from 9 as you get up towards Milford, 22 miles an hour. But Milford pretty far north of where that fire is burning. And I want to show you something really interesting. You know how temperatures today were a bit cooler. We came down by about 8 to 10 degrees thanks to a cold front. So northerly winds across most of northern Utah. You can see where that northerly wind is meeting up with that southwesterly wind. So this is where that front is, right here. That could really make things complicated for battling the wildfire with erratic winds, but it looks like this front's going to stay just north of where that wildfire is, so that's going to keep the southwest winds in place. So at least we'll keep them going from the same direction. Your wind forecast as we head through the rest of the evening, it's going to take a little while for them to back completely off. This is at 3 a.m. and this is when things start to really calm down. Temperatures will be cooling down too, humidity going up. So some better news here as we head through the overnight hours, but watch what happens tomorrow. Winds picking right back up again, southwest winds, and we're going to be looking at high fire danger. And tomorrow it's going to be for most of the state. I'll have all the details on this coming up in my full forecast in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Kristen. The stream fire is also burning in northern Utah tonight. This one started southwest of Snowville in some tall grass. So far, the fire has burned more than 8,000 acres, though no buildings are threatened. Crews have it 30% contained. Multiple agencies are working to get this one under control.
2 teen boys will be charged for setting a small fire yesterday in Saratoga Springs. Investigators say a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old were playing with fireworks when they started flames near homes. The fire burned only 4 acres but cost $14,000 to put out. The boys will likely have to pay back some of that money as well.
The smoke in the sky above the Wasatch Front is coming from many fires sparked last night and this morning in Idaho and Utah. A lightning storm in southeastern Idaho sparked 12 named fires. They burned over 10,000 acres overnight. And this morning, the stream fire sparked and quickly grew to over 8,000 acres. The Bryan Head fire is far bigger than all of those combined, but that smoke is heading in another direction.
That dispersal of smoke is primarily going due east of the fire there.
Now, the LaSalle Mountains above Moab are east of the Bryan Head fire, and webcams in that area show a lot of smoke. Southern Colorado is also experiencing the impact of Bryan Head.
A Heber City man accused of sexually abusing several children faces even more charges tonight. Prosecutors filed 20 additional counts of sexual exploitation of a minor against 33-year-old Bryce Johnson. They stem from child pornography found during an initial search of his home. Johnson is also charged with sexually abusing at least 11 children. He's due in court tomorrow. Sevier County Sheriff's deputies are investigating a deadly rollover on SR 24 this afternoon. Witnesses saw a pickup truck go off the road, then drift when it came back on the pavement before flipping over. Investigators say the driver was wearing a seatbelt but died on scene. Deputies are waiting to identify the victim until after they notify family.
Thieves in a Utah neighborhood with a very specific target.
It's definitely a crime of opportunity.
Coming up, what thieves are taking from porches in Taylorsville.
And a 93-year-old woman in West Valley is woken from her sleep by the SWAT team pounding on her front door. I'm Jeff McAdam here in the newsroom. We'll tell you what they were looking for coming up next.
And a beloved bird at Utah's Hogle Zoo passes away. What led to this macaw's death?
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
I don't know what to do. I just killed both my parents. Please send help, please.
A 911 caller claiming to have killed his parents in West Valley. Tonight, we're learning the call was likely a prank.
But a SWAT team and police officers rushed to the home this morning and nearly broke the door down to get in. Fox 13's Jeff McAdam is in the newsroom tonight. Jeff.
Well, the 911 caller claimed to be calling from inside the home, but he wasn't. But a 93-year-old woman was in there. She never expected to see SWAT team at her door. She says the knocking woke her from her sleep.
Well, I just came to the door.
She didn't want to share her name out of concern, but as the darkness from the night before turned to daylight, she felt more comfortable sharing her story.
The lights were flashing through the windows.
Those lights belong to a dozen or so SWAT and police officers responding to a 911 call that came in around midnight from a man claiming to be the woman's son, Kevin, who says he's just killed his parents.
Kevin, tell me exactly what happened.
I don't know. They just came down and they wanted to take all my gear, and I just took a SPAS 12 out. I hid it away and I just shot them.
The dispatcher tells Kevin officers are on the way.
I'm going to feel dangerous. I don't know. I feel like attacking. I might shoot.
Responding officers approach the front door, but the trailer remains quiet. No one inside answering.
As this is all happening, our investigators on the scene and supervisors are beginning to notice there are some inconsistencies in some of the information that's being provided.
West Valley City Police Chief Lee Russo says they learned the 93-year-old's husband had really passed away a couple of years ago, so he couldn't have been killed. And they quickly got a hold of the 93-year-old's other kids, including her son, Kevin, who startled from his sleep in an apartment across town.
I feel like it's very wicked what they did to Kevin. And I can't imagine anybody, what kind of a grudge anybody could carry that they would pull a trick like that.
Possibly a grudge. Police say the 911 caller somehow did mimic the home phone number from the trailer and even knew she had a son named Kevin.
Kevin drives for UPS.
Yeah.
I thought maybe somebody didn't like the way he delivered packages. I don't know.
Well, glad she can have a little bit of a sense of humor after such a startling morning. But police certainly are not joking. They were very close to knocking down the front door, and now they're in the process of tracing that call. And the felony charges could be on the line for whoever was really on the other line. In the newsroom, Jeff McAdam, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Jeff, thank you. New at 9, staff at Hogle Zoo say another key player in the World of Flight bird show has died. The zoo says Winston, a blue and gold macaw, got spooked and flew away from his perch, then across a nearby street. An elderly driver hit him and did not stop at the scene. Winston was a rescue bird and came to the zoo about 8 years ago. Staff say he was nice, well-natured, and they are devastated by the loss.
And just like in the wild, you know, sometimes birds do fly into windows or they do get hit by cars, and it's heartbreaking when it's a beautiful bird where somebody has spent hours and hours of love and time and training on this bird. So it's definitely a big loss for us.
The zoo says in the 23 years they've had the show, they've never had an incident, besides 2 very recently. Last month, the African Lanner falcon flew into the wolf enclosure and was killed.
The Salt Lake County Council will begin a special investigation into troubled county recorder Gary Ott. The council approved the investigation at a meeting today. They're going to look into whether he lives in the county, which could be a factor into whether he stays in office. The committee has subpoena power and could bring him in to discuss it. Now, Ott wasn't in the office again today, but his chief deputy supports the vote.
I think that their investigation is fair, and it'll take a fair course.
There's also been a lot of questions about Ott's health and whether he's fully capable of serving out his duties. In past interviews, it didn't appear he understood exactly what was going on. He also told sheriff's deputies last year he has dementia. Members of his family have filed for conservationship over him in court.
Utah drivers apparently get a bad rap for a very good reason. A new analysis says Salt Lake City has the second worst drivers in the country. The website Quote Wizard Insurance News looked at data for accidents, speeding tickets, DUIs, and other citations to make the list. The report says Utah drivers have the second highest rate of speeding tickets.
Or maybe more people just get pulled over around here.
Maybe the police agencies are better at catching people.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they do a pretty good job, it seems like. But I try to abide by the law, so I'm going to continue to keep doing that. Hey, let's go ahead and talk about the weather and what's going on out there. And as you can see, a beautiful sunset. You know, we talk about the smoke and the haze, and it is really unfortunate, but it can bring out some extra pretty colors whenever the sun goes down. So we'll be thankful for this pretty sunset out there right now. This is a look, of course, from our Ochre Mountain camera out towards Antelope Island. Our almanac for today, we topped out at 92 yesterday, triple-digit heat, so a little better. Our normal high is 88. The record is 102, so not close to the record, but we were above the normal again this afternoon. Out there right now, temperatures are cooling nicely, and it will be a little cooler tonight, so you'll notice it feeling a little more refreshing, especially when you wake up tomorrow morning. We're 81 in Ogden, but upper 70s for Layton, Draper, West Valley City, out towards Lehigh in the upper 70s, and Park City now down to 60 degrees, feeling really nice up that way. And then southern Utah, we're not even in the triple digits anymore in St. George. We're at 97 there, low 80s over in Cedar City. Cold front came through, and that's what's cooled us off. It changed the wind direction for us, coming in from the north-northwest for southern Utah, but this front's never going to make it far enough south to impact the wind direction there. So we've seen winds there come in from the southwest, and we're going to continue to see that. As far as temperatures go tonight, we'll see overnight lows in the low to mid 60s for most of the Wasatch Front, 58 for Provo, southern Utah in the 60s towards Richfield and Bullfrog, and low 70s for St. George. Skies stay mainly clear, and any showers associated with the cold front stay out of the state, so we're staying very dry. Fire danger ramps back up again big time tomorrow. We have red flag warnings in effect for just about the entire state with the exception of the Uinta Mountains. So it is going to be a hot day, a dry day, and we're going to continue to see those winds be breezy enough to keep the fire danger around. But we are seeing some of the milder conditions, so tomorrow will be very similar to today temperature-wise. The really mild weather is up in the Pacific Northwest right now, and that's going to slide in our direction as we head towards Thursday, Friday. So tomorrow, kind of more of the same, and then Thursday, you can see how the heights kind of take that dip here. Whenever the heights start going lower, these are upper level heights. That means you're starting to see the temperatures drop. Whenever they start building up again, high pressure and that heat builds in. So Thursday, probably the coolest day of the next 7. And then we get into Friday, we're hanging on to some of that. And then we get into the weekend and the heat starts building back up again. And then we continue to see the heat build in as we head towards early next week. In fact, it looks like the center of the high pressure bringing all the heat across the western part of the country is going to be right over Utah just in time for the 4th of July. So get ready for a hot one, and we're likely going to see it in the triple digits too. Highs tomorrow, 87 in Ogden, 92 in Salt Lake City, upper 80s for Provo, southern Utah, 102 in St. George, so backing off on the heat a little bit there. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast for Salt Lake City and the Wasatch Front, basically. Temperatures in the 60s through 7 a.m. We're in the low 80s by 10 a.m. and then most of the afternoon sunny, upper 80s and low 90s. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast, and temperatures in the triple digits for southern Utah all the way through early next week. 106 on the 4th of July. Northern Utah, temperatures in the 90s tomorrow. Then mid to upper 80s Thursday, Friday will feel pretty nice. Then we're back to the mid 90s this weekend. And look at early next week, 4th of July, 101.
Wow.
So triple digit heat I hope a lot of pool parties are planned for the 4th of July or something where you're going to be able to stay cool because it's going to be very hot.
And we got to give those firefighters a break.
Yeah.
We really do, you know, and we got to be mindful on the 4th of July, but the fire danger is going to be even higher with that heat.
All right,
yeah.
Kristen, thank you.
Well, they want to play football, but their schools say no. What these girls are doing in response.
And the push to legalize medical marijuana in Utah may already have one big opponent, how the LDS Church could get involved. The LDS Church could have a role in keeping medical marijuana off the ballot in 2018.
But some say the church could be putting faithful members in a tough spot if it vocally opposes the ballot in question. Fox 13's Ben Winslow has the story.
Supporters of medical marijuana acknowledge the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints could influence the results of the ballot initiative. The church weighs in on moral issues and has opposed recreational cannabis in other states.
If they're going to say something about medical cannabis, I think they should also be addressing the opioid crisis. And I think medical cannabis is a way to get that reduction helped.
When Fox 13 asked the church about the medical marijuana ballot initiative, a spokesman responded with a statement saying lawmakers all over the country are wrestling with this issue and pointing out that marijuana may be legal in some states but remains illegal federally. The statement goes on to say, accordingly, we believe that society is best served by requiring marijuana to go through further research and the FDA approval process that all other drugs must go through before they are prescribed to patients.
It's going to pass in 2018.
Backers of the initiative say 73% of Utahns polled say they would vote for it. That would include Mormons. Former State Senator Mark Madsen, who ran the original medical marijuana legislation, says Mormons are put in a tough situation compared to faithful who live in states where medical cannabis is legal, noting the church teaches obeying the law of the land.
If I stay here, I'm not only run the risk of being a criminal, but my status with my church is dubious. Can I or can I not go to the temple? Those decisions, I think, are unfair decisions to put a member of the church in.
Madsen hopes the LDS Church stays out of it.
I think that I have about as much business running the church as I think they have running the state.
Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
An unexpected resolution in a high-profile murder case in Salt Lake City.
He has extreme remorse for the horrible act that he committed.
What the victim's family says about Craig Crawford's guilty plea.
And caught on security cameras stealing from front porches. What police say these thieves are after that they could get at any grocery store.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Unified Police are looking for a guy who's got milk. He's been seen on surveillance video stealing milk off a front porch, and it turns out that wasn't the only incident.
Police believe the same crooks may be targeting all kinds of overnight deliveries. Fox 13's Tamara Vaifanua has the story from Taylorsville.
Home surveillance video captures the suspect in the act this morning just before 3. A man walks up to this porch near 6200 South and 2700 West, grabs 4 fresh bottles of milk from a cooler, and takes off.
We've had a lot of thefts focused on Winder Dairy products over the last little while.
Lieutenant Brian Lorkey with Unified Police says the thirsty thief targeted a handful of homes where Winder Farms just dropped off deliveries.
We leave out our bag with our empty milk containers, and they'll pick that up and then just leave a new bag with all of our products.
Stephanie Grable woke up expecting to find a new bag of milk and eggs waiting at her doorstep, but there was nothing. She then called the company, who told her several people contacted them and said their orders were missing as well.
What do? I mean, it's milk. It's, I don't know how they're going to drink all of that in 1 week, because that's going to go sour.
When she saw the video posted on Facebook, she immediately realized it was no joke. Other neighbors reported missing chocolate milk and veggie snack packs.
I would really buy this person some milk if they really need milk that bad.
It's definitely a crime of opportunity.
Police say thieves are targeting any type of item they can easily grab off porches. And while the stolen goods in these cases may not amount to much, police take it very seriously.
The underlying issue of this is the criminals that we are catching committing these crimes are drug addicted. That is not a joke to anybody. They are still going to do real jail time, even if it is milk and eggs.
In Taylorsville, Tamara Vaifanua, Fox 13 News, Utah.
After more than a year, some resolution in a high-profile Salt Lake City murder case. In court today, Craig Crawford admitted to setting a fire that killed his husband, John Williams.
It's a horrible nightmare, so it's nice to have him admit guilt, so that's a good closure.
Williams' family says they're happy they won't have to go through a lengthy trial. The well-known restaurant owner died May 22nd of last year when Crawford set fire to the couple's Capitol Hill home. As part of a plea deal, Crawford won't face the death penalty.
It was his decision, and he's very comfortable with that decision, to accept responsibility and try to close this case and move on.
Crawford will be sentenced Friday. He faces life in prison. A judge will decide whether he is eligible for parole at some point.
The GOP plan to overhaul health care isn't going anywhere in the Senate anytime soon. Several Republicans vowed to block the bill unless major changes are made. Scott McLean has more from Washington.
Republicans met for lunch today to try to get their health care bill on track. But for Senate leadership, the main course included a bitter pill they didn't want to swallow. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was forced to delay a vote on the controversial bill because he didn't have the support to move it forward.
Legislation of this complexity almost always takes longer than anybody else would hope.
The goal was to vote on the bill this week, but both moderate and conservative Republicans said they needed more time and more changes before they could get on board.
This is a process of bringing the conference together, uniting Republicans.
I think we have either 52 out of 52 or 50 out of 52.
This afternoon, President Trump proved he can get them all into one room, but getting them all to agree is a much bigger challenge.
We're going to talk and we're going to see what we can do. We're getting very close. But for the country, we have to have health care. And it can't be Obamacare, which is melting down.
After that meeting, Mitch McConnell said every senator in the room was committed to striking a deal in the coming weeks because the alternative is much worse.
Either Republicans will agree and change the status quo, or the markets will continue to collapse, and we'll have to sit down with Senator Schumer. And my suspicion is that any negotiation with the Democrats would include none of the reforms that we would like to make.
In Washington, I'm Scott McLean.
Utah Senator Mike Lee says he cannot support the Senate health care bill in its current form because it doesn't help middle-class families. In a statement to Fox 13 News, he continued, Republicans have an opportunity now to remember those forgotten Americans. We can rewrite our bill to bring down the price working families pay for health insurance while still protecting Americans with pre-existing conditions.
We stand, we fight. Healthcare is a human right.
Dozens raised their voices in Salt Lake City today to fight back against the Senate health care bill. The protesters say without Medicaid, over 500,000 Utahns will suffer, and they accuse Senator Orrin Hatch of not listening to his constituents. They're asking him to stand up.
I think it's really wrong to take away health care from our most vulnerable citizens, to give dollars back to the rich, the ultra rich that don't even need all of that money. I think it is our obligation to take care of the most vulnerable people.
A spokesperson for Senator Hatch said in part, quote, if activists can't make their point without inflammatory rhetoric accusing the senator who has passed more life-saving health care legislation than anyone alive of murder, they do more damage to the debate than credit to their viewpoint.
A battle brewing on the gridiron could soon make its way to the courtroom. Coming up, why these girls want to be allowed to have their own football team. And creating a new home for the Utah Jazz in the existing shell of Vivint Smart Home Arena, when construction should wrap up.
This is Fox 13 News.
Sports are something that should transcend gender.
3 years ago, a group of parents formed an all-girl tackle football league in Salt Lake City, and each year, participation has more than doubled. They saw a demand and wanted to provide the opportunity for girls to play football in high school, just like the boys. But the response from the schools has led to a lawsuit.
Now, a group of girls and their parents are suing 3 school districts and the Utah High School Activities Association. Fox 13's Dora Scheidel spoke to the plaintiffs.
Down,
The first down for these Utah girls was getting the chance to play America's favorite sport.
Football is our country's most popular sport. Girls want to play, they do.
But the touchdown would be playing for their high school.
It would mean so much to me to be able to play for my school.
The parents started exploring legal avenues after they took their request here to the Utah High School Activities Association and was told there wasn't enough interest to implement a girls' football program.
The suggestion was, well, go ahead and grow your girls' league for 10 or 15 years and then come back to us. Well, my daughter will be 30 years old by then. That doesn't help her or any of the other girls who want to play for the school now.
Now they're suing 3 school districts and the UHSAA, claiming it's a violation of Title IX. In response, Granite School District, which is named along with Canyons and Jordan, says they'd consider a team if there was a demand. But, quote, our own internal surveys and current participation levels indicate that we are not even close to that type of interest at this point in time, no matter what this lawsuit presupposes.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
When it comes to potential injuries,
there's definitely the chance, but if you learn how to fall correctly, tackle correctly, hit correctly, then you'll be fine.
Football isn't just making these girls tough, it's helping them gain confidence.
I played sports before, but my body type wasn't really necessary to the team, and then in football it's really helpful for when you're on the line. And that's a really good feeling.
Forming leaders on and off the field.
We need women to be able to go out into society and be leaders.
Leaders who are tackling barriers for girls of the future.
I'm not just doing this for me so I can play next year. I'm doing it for my little sister and for all the girls who are going to be going in high school and who are just starting high school so that they can play one day.
Reporting from West Jordan, Doris Scheidel, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Bringing the home of the Utah Jazz into the 21st century. We're going to take you inside Vivint Arena's massive remodel.
Former head coach for Real Salt Lake, Jason Kreis, will be back in town on Friday with his new club, Orlando City, and the Celtics working hard to sign Gordon Hayward. Of the latest free agent reports involving the Jazz.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
Unified Police hope some surveillance video helps them nab a serial robber. Now, the video shows the man walking into the Cypress Credit Union near 57th South Redwood Road in Taylorsville last Friday and approached the tellers. Investigators believe the same man robbed a Metro PCS store in West Valley City that day. He is also suspected in 2 other bank robberies. If you recognize him, please call police. And Moab police also want help identifying the man in this security footage. They say he intentionally started a small brush fire outside of a lumber store on Main Street. Flames burned some bags of wood chips. Firefighters were able to put it out before it spread to the building. The man's described as a slender build and facial hair, and that's about it. If you recognize him, please call police with any information.
This dash camera video shows a car crash in Sandy this morning. Did you see it? Fox 13 News viewer was driving near 106 South and Holiday Park Drive when she watched an SUV hit the curb right there and fly into the air. Sandy police tell us the driver started swerving for some reason and then overcorrected. He suffered minor injuries. No other cars were damaged.
A surprise announcement at today's Liquor Control Authority meeting. Jeff Wright is stepping away after 8 years on Utah's Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. Wright is one of 3 known drinkers on the DABC who was appointed under then-Governor John Huntsman. In his farewell remarks, he praised DABC employees, saying they have very difficult jobs. He also weighed in with Fox 13 on the state of liquor laws.
Work in progress.
How so?
I think that we have a system that is telling us on the one hand to sell and act like a business, and then we have a system that says restrict alcohol and public safety, and those sometimes are in conflict. So I think we still struggle with that conflict.
Governor Gary Herbert will nominate Wright's replacement to the DABC. A multi-million-dollar renovation is well underway at Vivint Smart Home Arena. Construction crews are just a couple of months out from unveiling the upgraded home of the Utah Jazz.
But today, Fox 13's Danica Lawrence went inside for a look at the progress.
Breaking old barriers.
And rolling out the latest renovations, Vivint Smart Home Arena isn't leaving anything untouched in its $125 million facelift.
I would say 80–90% of what's being done here is to improve the fan experience.
The General Superintendent, Fred Strasser, has been in construction for 40 years. The Jazz home renovation, he says, is the most aggressive project he's ever worked on, meaning it was done fast, in about 9 months. And it's all for that sixth man on the team, you, the fans.
They're just going to feel a lot of energy, okay? And it's going to feel like a more social space, in my mind.
The main entryway will include a 12,000 square feet atrium expansion.
When you come into the arena, you've got that impact of really looking right into the bowl.
And maybe the most comfortable new feature for every fan, all new seating.
So it'll be padded seats now. You'll be able to leave the arena at any level and be able to go to whether it's your suite or one of the super clubs or a concession.
Every floor is being remodeled, and for those of you who had to go up to get down to your seats or suites, it's no longer a maze.
We're now cutting what we call vomitory openings off of level 2. So if you're in one of the super clubs or the Jazz 100, again, you'll be able to walk right out into the arena to get to your seating.
The same architect here also designed New York's Madison Square Garden. So take note, your next event will be unlike anything you've seen here before. From inside Vivint Smart Home Arena, Danica Lawrence, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Wow, that's going to be cool.
That's got to count for something with Gordon Hayward.
Yes, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, maybe that's
We
going
got
to
new
keep
drapes,
him here, right?
new furniture, new rugs.
We're rolling out everything.
Yeah.
We got to keep them in
Remodeling the back of the building,
Yeah,
the front of the building.
We'll see.
Well, we hope.
Happens. Keep our fingers crossed.
Yep.
So the weather a little better. It's hot, but not as hot as yesterday, which is, that's something. Here's a look at our time lapse from this evening, looking out towards Antelope Island, out over the Great Salt Lake, and you can see it was a pretty colorful one despite a lack of cloud cover, really not a whole lot of cloud cover at all. So you got to think it's got to do with some of the haze and a little bit of that smoke that got pushed in from some of the fires burning to our north and west up towards Idaho. No smoke though getting up this way from the big Brian Head fire down south. That's all staying down in southern Utah. 84 degrees right now, north winds coming in at 5, humidity at 16%. It's going to be a dry day tomorrow, so get ready for that, and we're going to be looking at those winds picking up as well. What we can expect for tonight, we're going to be looking at dry conditions behind the cold front, and this front that passed through helped cool things off today, so we're going to be looking at similar conditions as we head through tomorrow as well. There's the front, is not going to make it down to southern Utah, so we're going to keep mainly the cool off going in the northern parts of the state. Upper 80s and low 90s today. We're basically just going to repeat this tomorrow afternoon, but it does get better by the end of the week. A stronger cold front is going to move in to bring in a more significant cool down. Here's a look at the highs for tomorrow, and you can see not much different. 87 in Ogden, 92 in Salt Lake City, down in southern Utah, 102 in St. George, so a little bit better than where they have been. Fire danger, again, tomorrow is going to be super high, and it goes for the entire state. Red flag warnings in effect until 10 p.m. Hot, dry, and then we're going to have those winds picking up tomorrow coming in from the northwest. Planning your day tomorrow in the morning, temperatures in the 60s, a little more refreshing. As we go into the afternoon or late morning, we're in the 70s. By afternoon, we're going to be looking at mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the mid 80s, and then for most of the afternoon, temperatures topping out in the upper 80s and low 90s. North-northwest winds at 15 with gusts up near 20. So that added wind is going to make that fire danger go up. Southern Utah, it'll be breezy too. Southwest winds 103 for the next couple of days. 106 Saturday and 4th of July. 106. Northern Utah, temperatures in the 90s tomorrow. Mid 80s Thursday, Friday. That stronger front coming through. Back to the 90s over the weekend. And 4th of July is going to be hot. Triple-digit heat.
The music of As the Hayward Turns.
Yeah, right? He's probably on a beach somewhere, not a care in the world. And
yeah. His agent's doing all of this.
What's he gonna do? We'll see.
Yep.
There's the latest rumor coming out. The Boston Celtics really want this guy. The NBA free agency period starts in 4 days, but Yahoo Sports is reporting that Boston wants Gordon Hayward to commit to signing with the Celtics before then so they can complete a trade for Indiana All-Star Paul George. The Jazz hoping to re-sign Hayward, but They've reportedly expressed interest in signing free agents Andre Iguodala from Golden State and point guard Ricky Rubio from Minnesota. Former Real Salt Lake head coach Jason Christ will be back at Rio Tinto Stadium this Friday, leading Orlando City against his old club. But RSL's focus is on themselves this week as they try to blend youth with experience. Fox 13's Rebecca Cade has more.
The 2017 Real Salt Lake team continues to struggle with consistency, and so far, head coach Mike Petke's answer has been to play more and more homegrown players. In fact, he put 6 in last Saturday against San Jose.
It's something that I believe in and something that I'm going to keep pushing in the right circumstances, and he got a very nice goal. 2 under 20 boys, 2 academy boys, him and Bofo combining for that goal, so it was nice to see.
It's a family here, so you get the first one of your professional career. Everyone's very supportive, congratulating, and now expecting more.
This weekend, RSL hosts Orlando City, whose head coach once led the Claret and Cobalt.
I'm sure they're going to be well prepared. They're going to be hardworking. We've kept in touch throughout the years, and it'll be good to see him on Friday. And you know, it's good to see him in the league and back on his feet doing well with Orlando.
RSL is back at home in Rio Tinto this Friday, and kickoff is set for 6:30. In Salt Lake City, Rebecca Cade, Fox 13 Sports.
3 girls soccer teams from Utah won Far West Regional Championships last week in Seattle, which qualifies them for nationals in Texas. The under-15 La Roca team cruised to a 5-0 win in their final. There was more drama in the Celtic Championship games. The U16s won on a penalty shootout after scoring in the final seconds of overtime to force PKs, and the under-17 scored the game winner in the final minute.
Everybody's just so happy, like everybody's just hugging and crying, and like last year, especially not making it past the quarterfinals, this year was like super crazy for us. Man, it's probably one of the biggest games we've ever played in, and we've all been so close for a really long time, and for us to accomplish something so big and to go to the next level is really big for us.
Last 2 years in a row we went to regionals, we lost in semis, so we really wanted to make it to nationals.
Yeah, good luck to them. Maybe they'll win a national championship.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Be right back.
Now this is cool. If you're wondering what this video is about, it's actually the latest way to keep or to help keep your pets safe in the dark. The Disco Dog is an LED vest, especially for your pet. You control the device from your smartphone and pick the colors and patterns that appear on the vest. A Kickstarter campaign brought in $20,000, and now the vest is a real-life accessory, and I just got off the phone with Parley, and she wants 2 of them.
Yes, I got to get her one. All right.
Probably works best on a little dog.
Yeah, probably.
Do the hustle. Then you just got to teach your dog how to do that.
Yeah, my dog will be jumping in the water, and then all kinds of bad things will probably be happening after that. But the music's fun. They should add that too.
Yeah. A new Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Quick Cast coming up next.